Hello guys and welcome back to HJW Gaming and another Age of Empires mobile video. This time producing a follow-up to my previous early game free-to-play Swordsman March, bringing you my recommended early game March with Swordsman for players who are more willing to spend their currency to improve their March. Let's get straight into the video. So for those who haven't watched the video, I'd recommend going down to my channel and taking a look at the playlist. I will link it down in the description. But this is the march that we recommended for various different reasons. So I'm going to show how this can be updated for those in the early game who are willing to spend in order to improve. So the first commander we're going to put in as our lead commander is going to be Miyamoto Musashi. So Miyamoto can be obtained as part of the VIP packs. So as you go up VIP levels, you get the option to buy certain packs. If I show you here by going into my VIP level, in the bottom right, so just behind me, there are VIP exclusive chests that if you purchase, you can then get access to Miyamoto. So you increase VIP levels by spending money on packs within the game, which then give you VIP coins and increase your VIP level. And you also get free claims down in the bottom left, which increase as your streak goes on. But as you buy these bundles, you then get access during the various levels to buy the VIP exclusive chests. If you buy the VIP level 1 and 2 chests, you will get access to, VIP 1, you'll get the access to Miyamoto altogether, and VIP 2 will grant you enough tokens to take him to his first star rank. If you want to get him to all the way up to 3 stars, which I would recommend, you'll have to spend up to VIP 6, and then you'll have, and buying all the packs along the way, and you'll have enough tokens to take Miyamoto to rank 3, which is the assumption that I'm making in this build. The reason we're including him here is he does have some fantastic high damage skills, as we'll see if we look into him here. Now, if we take a look at his commander skill, it's a very high damage dealing skill. So it's able to deal might damage to up to 3 enemy troops, basically an area of attack damage, so it'll attack multiple enemies kind of in a fan shape in front of him when you look into the visual representation of the battles. But it does deal a very high amount of damage. You'll see here at level 30, it's dealing 348.5%. That can increase up to 386%. So a huge amount of might damage, and one that goes kind of under the radar is the skill damage reduction here. So a debuff on the enemy targets as well, reducing their skill damage by 18% for 6 seconds, which is amazing here, as of course if you can reduce the skill damage of your opponents who are using high damage heroes, then this will very much help to keep your commander formation alive. The additional amount of rage granted at the beginning of the battle means that this skill will be activated pretty early on as well. So yeah, it's a pretty strong skill, but it's not the main reason that we're using Miyamoto. The main reason we look towards Miyamoto is actually this here, his signature skill, which is Moment of Yin. Now, Moment of Yin is awesome, as it does deal a pretty decent amount of might damage here. So we have one instance of might damage of up to 335%. And also has a up to 37% chance to let the hero with the highest might, excluding Miyamoto himself, cast a signature active skill or turn-based skill while increasing the extra skill's damage by 30%. Now that second part is what we're mainly looking for here. Note though, however, it is only an active skill or turn-based skill, not those which are passive skills. But the fact that it has a chance for another hero, whichever has the highest might, to activate their signature skill and it boosts it by 30%, this is enormous. And this is the main reason we're going to be looking to use Miyamoto, as when you get this activation, you'll see it has a 25% activation chance. When it does activate, you're going to get that enormous amount of burst damage as he deals his damage, and then the commander that follows straight after deals their damage and gets that massive might boost. You'll see a huge wave of damage coming as a result of Moment of Yin. So yeah, this is definitely the best skill we have for Miyamoto and why he's so fantastic. Now for Miyamoto's optional skills, we do have a couple of choices. To begin with, once you unlock Miyamoto, you will have the option of Shield Slam, which is basically just deals basic might damage. And you'll also have Crashing Boulder, which again just deals basic might damage. So we're going to look to upgrade that to a legendary skill, as these epic skills just dealing basic might damage don't really synergize with the rest of the formation. So we have a choice of a couple here. The first one I'd recommend picking up is Earth Crush. Now Earth Crush we've seen previously on several other heroes like King Derrick. Deals a significantly higher amount of might damage here and also inflicts the rout effect, dealing might damage to the opponent over time, which then synergizes with commanders that we have later in the formation. So yeah, Earth Crush is the first one I'd recommend picking up. I'm assuming here, as this is slightly more of a spender-based formation, that you can probably afford to get the 2 signature skills, so I will be recommending both here. The second I'd recommend is Furious Charge. Now, every time the hero activates their signature skill, increases the hero's might damage by 11.37%, up to 5 stacks. Of course, the percentage can be upgraded as you improve the skill. But this is a great skill again, because every time a hero activates their signature skill, you will get those stacks fairly quickly. Now, the other 2 legendary skills aren't horrible. The first is Peerless Strike. This just deals a base amount of might damage, but higher than that you would get from either of the other 2 epic rarity skills, so it's basically an improved version of both of those. It's by no means a bad skill. It can deal a very large amount of damage. I just think that inflicting the rout effect with Earth Crush and also that increased might from Furious Charge is a vast improvement. And then the last available skill is High Spirit, which increases the activation chance of heroes' active skills by a certain percentage. And obviously this can be useful as Moment of Yin and Earth Crush, for example, are both active skills. So if you're going to look to use High Spirit, you'd have to put this in instead of Furious Charge, as Furious Charge is instead like a passive skill, so you'd have to use that instead of that. And in my opinion, that's the reason why we don't go for High Spirit, is because Furious Charge, in my opinion, is better with that increased might. Now, it should be noted that, as I mentioned earlier, I'm assuming a rank 3 Miyamoto build. It should be mentioned that rank 1 can still be usable and effective. He does still, of course, have great skills and good damage, and rank 1 grants a good bonus damage to that of 50%. However, I'm assuming rank 3, as this is where you get that increased skill damage of 30% upon the activation of Moment of Yin that I mentioned earlier. This last part here comes as a result of having him rank 3. So he definitely has a massive power spike when you get him to rank 3. So I'd recommend, if you are a spender, taking him to that level. However, if you can only afford to get him to rank 1, I still think he's better than Josephine that I recommended in my early game free-to-play setup. At rank 5, there isn't this massive jump. Of course, it can be useful as you get a 3% increase in the activation chance of Moment of Yin. And it also increases the skill activation chance of the hero with the highest might. So you do get a little bit of buffs also to the rest of your army. However, I don't think this, whilst of course if you're a massive spender and looking to make the most of Miyamoto, then of course take him to rank 5, as that will be the kind of max value you'll get from him. However, in my opinion, the massive number of additional tokens to take him from rank 3 to rank 5, if you're kind of a mid spender, is not worth it. So just keep him at rank 3, which is what we're assuming in this guide. The remainder of the formation is going to follow a similar build to the free-to-play one. Our second commander, we're going to pick Hammurabi, and for third in command, we are going to choose King Derrick. Now, I mentioned about the possible synergies and availability between these, and I'll talk about it very briefly again, but if you want to see it covered fully, watch the free-to-play guide. But basically, the reason we're choosing Hammurabi is his ability to inflict the rout state. So you'll see here on his signature skill, Authoritative Code, he does inflict the rout effect on the target, making them take damage over time. And he also has more skills within his optional, such as Earth Crush, which allow him again to inflict that rout state. Now, as this is a bit more of a spender guide, I will also recommend a second skill. So I'd first off recommend replacing Sunder with Earth Crush. Second up, I would replace Crashing Boulder here with High Spirit. Now, the difference here between Hammurabi and Miyamoto is we're looking to inflict that rout state with Hammurabi. So if we put High Spirit on Hammurabi for his second skill, we can then increase the chance of those activations and that rout effect being inflicted. The reason this is important is his synergy with King Derrick. King Derrick's signature skill here, which is Grace and Blessings, inflicts might damage of a decent amount, and if the target's in rout state, it increases their might damage taken by a pretty large chunk. So that's the reason the synergy between Hammurabi and Derrick is with those skills and the high power increasing the chance of Hammurabi's effects coming into or skills of activating and inflicting the rout state, we're more likely to have them in that state so that King Derrick can activate this enormous amount of damage. Additional synergy here is if we make sure that King Derrick has higher might than Hammurabi, then Moment of Yin from Miyamoto, when it activates and gives a signature skill of the highest might commander within the army, will then activate this skill again with King Derrick. So once the opponents are in rout state, they'll repeatedly be debuffed, increasing their might damage taken. This then again synergizes with Miyamoto and his huge might damage based skill damage. So basically you'll have King Derrick repeatedly debuffing the opponent's commanders or heroes so that they take increased might damage as a result of his activation and the Moment of Yin causing him to reactivate. And then you'll have all that massive damage coming through from Hammurabi, from Miyamoto, and some from Derrick, basically just inflicting an enormous amount of damage across all those might-based skills. So that's the main synergy here. You can see all three commanders really synergize well, which is something that was a little bit lacking in the free-to-play formation, where Josephine was kind of there to fill a slot and deal might damage. Didn't really synergize as well with the other two heroes. So Miyamoto here is definitely a very sizable upgrade. But for optional skills for King Derrick, I recommended Earth Crush previously. Again, it's just another good choice for high amounts of might damage and also inflicting the rout state. And for the second skill, I would recommend Righteous Judgment, as it will deal a good amount of might damage and also debuff the enemies, causing them to have reduced might and strategy by a percentage for 3 seconds. So I think this is good because you get good damage and you get that debuff as well. So I think this is his best second skill to choose. And an important synergy within this formation is the 5th rank star on King Derrick. I know this can be tricky to get due to the daily limit on the Giants' Raw banners, so you'll have to work with your formation to make sure you get this. But the 5th star here again synergizes very, very well with the effects of him and all the other commanders. So here, when Grace and Blessings is activated, increases all your heroes' might damage by 20% for 6 seconds. Now, of course, if Moment of Yin is repeatedly activating Grace of Blessings, this is going to come into effect multiple times. So this 5th star is very valuable when combined with Moment of Yin from Miyamoto. Now, King Derrick is available as a free-to-play commander, so you should be able to get this as long as you're organising yourselves appropriately. Rank requirement for Hammurabi is only 1 star. The reason for this is we're looking for the increased duration of Authoritative Code's rout effect for 3 seconds, as then it'll work well again with King Derrick and still be in effect when Moment of Yin activates King Derrick's signature skill. For increased ranks on Hammurabi, they don't have a massive effect, but you can of course get there if you have the medals. But I wouldn't recommend spending universal medals on this, as he is a free-to-play hero. The 3rd star just increases the duration of the damage increase from Authoritative Code. It doesn't affect the actual duration of the rout effect, so it doesn't affect the synergy at all with the other commanders. And his 5th star here just increases the might damage increase effect. So again, can be useful for increasing the amount of damage that's being dealt. However, it's not necessary, and the enormous amount of tokens that have to be spent mean that I'd recommend spending tokens elsewhere, particularly if you're using universal tokens. Now this of course means that Josephine will move into another formation. As for possible swap outs and alternatives here, there aren't really any for the very early game. Once you unlock Tribwana from the Advent wheel, you can slide her in, but I'll cover that on a completely different video, as I think she needs covering in both free-to-play and spender formations. So for now, if you're looking at purely early game, I don't think there's really an alternative here. You need all 3 of these heroes for them to synergize, as each of their skills, signature skills, do synergize very well, and so are individual to the recommended commander. And with that, that's everything I had to cover in this video. If you have any questions about the possible synergies or alternatives with this formation, please let me know down in the comments. Feel free to ask any questions. I do respond to all comments. And yeah, if you have liked this video, please drop the thumbs up on it, as it does massively help support me, and also consider subscribing to see more of my videos in the future. Anyway, with that, I've been HJW Gaming, and I hope to see you on the next one.